Assiniboia Downs, in conjunction with Manitoba Liquor and Lotteries, is pleased to bring you the 68th running of the Manitoba Derby for 3-year-olds, going a mile and an eighth for a purse of $75,000. Number 1 is Solve, owned by CNR Weist, T. Grayling, and Rollingson Racing Stable, trained by Robertine Diodoro, with Antonio Whitehall. Number 2 is Power Driven, owned by Al Johnson, trained by Gary Danelson, with Rohan Singh. Number 3 is Inside Straight, owned by Randy Howg, trained by Robertino Diodoro, with Scott Stevens. Number 4, Primary Factor, was scratched. Number 5 is WITTS HENNY, owned by Henry Witt Jr., trained by Jerry Gorno, with Christopher Husbands. Number 6 is Ruck, owned by Calamar Stables and Ranch, trained by Reed Baker, with Omar Moreno. Number 7 is Media Melee, owned by John Gannis, trained by Jared Brown, with Adolfo Morales. Rounding out our Derby field is number 8, Break the Silence, owned and trained by G. Ray Trisler, Rocco Bowen aboard. Post time for the Manitoba Derby, 8 minutes away. And now just waiting on Break the Silence. They're at the post. And they're off in the Manitoba Derby. Breaking a little slow was Power Driven. From the far outside, Break the Silence will control the early pace. On the outside, Media Melee wants a piece of the front end early. Settled back in third is Ruck, only a length and a half off it. Then racing together as a pair behind them, Inside Straight and WITTS HENNY. Then it's going to be Power Driven and Solve will be early trailer. They went the opening quarter 23-1. Honest pace with Break the Silence with a length advantage. Media Melee on the outside, the half a sharp 47-3. Rock still sitting on the rail in third. On the outside, Inside Straight making a move. Solve is starting to move up in fifth. And then it's back to Power Driven and the trailer. WITTS HENNY, 3/4, a heated 112-4. Break the Silence on the inside. Media Melee. Inside Straight, making a bold 3-wide move. Solve now into the fray on the outside. Ruck at the rail. 5 across the track at the head of the lane. Inside Straight with a narrow advantage. Ruck trying to battle from the inside, but it's Inside Straight. He's gonna do it in here. He takes the Manitoba Derby. Ruck in second, close for third between Solve and Power Driven. The Stewarts have posted number 3, Inside Straight, as the unofficial winner. Second goes to number 6, Rock. A photograph has been called to determine the show positions. They went the opening quarter in 23-1, the half 47-3, 6 furlongs, 112-4, the mile 139-4, time for the mile and an eighth, 152-3. Results of the photos show number 2, Power Driven, finishing third. Fourth goes to number 1, Solve. Now entering the winner's enclosure is the official winner of the Manitoba Derby. That's number 3, Inside Straight. Inside Straight is a big gelding, 3 years old, by Super Saver. Out of the mare, Dance Alexa, by Southern Halo. Owned by Randy Howg, trained by Robertine Diodoro, and ridden to victory by Scott Stevens. Time for a mile and an eighth, 152-3. Assiniboia Downs is pleased to have on hand the Honorable Ron Schuler, Minister of Crown Services, to make a presentation to the winning connections. Now directing your attention back down to the winner's enclosure, ASD Paddock host Rob McLennan has the winning connections of the Manitoba Derby. Rob, take it away.
Thanks, Kurt. We're down here with the winning connections of the 68th running of the Manitoba Derby. First of all, we've got the Honorable Minister Ron Schuler, the Minister of Crown Services, and the representative from our sponsor here, just to add a few words here about the Manitoba Derby.
Well, on behalf of Premier Brian Pallister, the Government of Manitoba, and Manitoba Liquor and Lotteries, congratulations. Great race.
Thank you, Minister. Anything else to add other than, or what was your thoughts kind of watching the race?
Well, it's one of the first times I've been at one of these, and it is really exciting. You have to be down here, and you have to hear the horses going by, and they just took the horse away, but boy, he's just pumped. What a great show, and I'd encourage people to come and have a look.
Thank you, Minister. And a very exciting one at that. We are very pleased to have you and our sponsors, Manitoba Liquors and Lotteries. And we'll present this here trophy to Mr. Randy Howg, the owner of Inside Straight here. Congratulations there, everybody. And we'll move on here. We'll actually move on to Scott Stevens if he wants to slide on in here. Talk to the jockey here first. I know you want to get uncovered from the mud here. So now your third win here in the Manitoba Derby. What was your thoughts coming in the first time you got to ride this colt?
You know what, Robertino called and asked if I'd ride him, and so I watched the replays of the last race, and I made some excuses for him, and I thought, yeah, I'll be there. And then I've been praying for rain, so I brought all this rain because he loves the mud. Very nice horse, and I appreciate him giving me the opportunity to ride him.
And you seem to really ride him well. You got a perfect grip. What was your kind of thoughts as you were going down? You kind of had two horses.
I got him in a good position when we turned up the backside, and I knew they were in a lot of trouble at that point because I was sitting on a lot of horse and just waiting for the time to go.
Congratulations, Scott. Anything else to add other than we're just happy for a third Manitoba Derby?
It's been a very lucky race for me. Thank you.
Congratulations. We'll move on to Rob Actress here, who's the assistant trainer for Robertino Diodoro. Robertino was at Del Mar, I believe, the other day and couldn't make it here, but I'm sure you have some words from him or some of your own. This is your own local derby here, being from Winnipeg.
Yeah, just a win for Team Diodoro. We're really proud of this horse. We were really high on him going into the last race. I think we were asking a little much of him. You know, he shipped out of New York and Toronto and then Canterbury, then here, so I think he really needed that start, and you know, they got him ready down in Canterbury. They obviously did a really good job, and he came up here ready today. Perfect ride by Scott, so it was really great.
It really was a tremendous victory. What was your thoughts as they got to about the 3/8 pole? Did you look like you were going to be awful tough, or that was your thoughts anyways?
You know, when they got to the 3/8 pole, I thought we had a shot with either horse. They were both moving really well. The other horse, he might have got caught a little wide, and maybe he was a little deeper out there, and he seemed to just get a little flat late, but Inside Straight didn't seem to mind it. He just carried on home. It was great.
It was a tremendous victory by Inside Straight. We'll move on to Randy here. I know you were super excited here with this colt. Only the second start you run for him. Let's talk about purchasing him. What was your kind of thoughts when you got this young Super Saver colt out of New York?
Well, the breeding sounded really good and stuff. My trainer was working on me to get him, and Caratoy was there with him telling me about the breeding and stuff, and it sounded great on paper, but I've heard all that before. So I don't know. I decided to bite the bullet, and I kept on second guessing whether I should have or not, and it took me a couple of months to tell my wife, but finally did. But I, you know, with everything, I'd sure like to thank a bunch of people. I'll start with you guys. You guys put on a hell of a show, or excuse my language, a very good show. And I thank all the Manitoba people, and I know we have a lot of Alberta people back there in Northlands, and I know they're right behind us too. And then Rob, I thank him, and his mother is a workhorse back in the barn. She's just running all the time, and there's just so many people to thank here. Scott did a great ride, and I don't know, it hasn't sunk in, but I also like to recognize our stable Solve, and they're my cousins. Robertine was giving us all the time, guys are saying farmers coming to Manitoba to have a match race. But we're really good friends and stuff, and I would have been in their picture too if they would have won. And tomorrow's but it's the show that you guys put on.
Thank you very much, Randy. We really do appreciate it. So now you're speaking of next time. I'm assuming the plan would be to go home and go to the Canadian Derby. Is that kind of, or we're going to play it by ear and talk to Robertino?
Well, I worked on the track back in '67. My dream was always a Canadian Derby, and we did win the Canadian Derby with Broadway Empire. So the Canadian Derby's always on my mind. So, but it's a little bit further now, and as you've seen, he's not a very big horse, but he must have a big heart. But he run good, and I think he can go the 3/8 too. But I think that's probably the next step. I hope he comes out of this race good, and we'll see what happens. And I got the main guy I haven't even thanked yet. Robertino's back in Del Mar, and I feel bad for him. His horse slipped in that big stake race last night, and it was over right out of the gates, and I feel so bad for him, and he'd love to be here. And I guess all I can say is thank you, Robertino.
Thank you, Randy. What a tremendous performance here by Inside Straight, the winner of the 68th running of the Manitoba Derby. Randy Howg, Robertino Diodoro, Scott Stevens, and everybody involved with Inside Straight. Congratulations. What a performance.